Welcome to the second part of the conference after the coffee break. I hope you're all still awake. I'll try to make it as interesting as possible. I don't want to bore you with too many slides, so I try to keep it under 20 slides. Anyway, I'll try to look at you to see if you're still interested. And please tell me if you have a question in the meantime, or if I should elaborate on something more or less. Or I think my role in this presentation is to give a bit of a practical insight into what the UN can do for youth, what kind of services UNIDO offers to youth, how we do that, and then also linking that to ICT, knowledge networks, and of course I will say a little bit about the interagency network for youth development that UNIDO is co-chairing this year. So, our program or approach is called Enterprise Creation and Growth, Sustainable Solutions for Youth Employment. I myself work in the Business Investment and Technology branch in UNIDO. UNIDO is a United Nations specialized agency for industrial development, and our headquarters are based in Vienna. We have projects all over the world focusing on economic development with lots of different types of services. So today I will really focus on the youth employment part and entrepreneurship development. So this is roughly what I will talk about. I will first give a brief insight into what we consider to be youth employment challenges and opportunities, then our approach, the type of projects we have with a few examples, a bit of the post-2015 agenda, and then the YANIT and the youth role. So, I don't want to lecture you here, and I think you're all very well aware of the global unemployment challenge that we face currently in many countries from Europe, actually especially in Europe and the Middle East, and also in the rest of the world. So, as you can see, over 1.2 billion young people live in the world today. The UN has a definition of 15 to 24 years, but we often use in our projects the definition of 15 to 35 years old, because obviously lots of young entrepreneurs between the age of 24 to 35 are actually also very active and would be ashamed they're excluded. So, as you can see, the number of unemployed worldwide grew significantly, and our approach to it is that in general the public sector in many countries doesn't have enough capacity to facilitate jobs for everybody. For example, if you look at the oil states in the Middle East, they cannot provide jobs for their entire population. Or if you look at sub-Saharan Africa, lots of government institutions don't even have capacity for job creation. So generally, overall, worldwide, 9 out of 10 jobs are created by the private sector. That's a fact. And therefore, we focus on private sector development as a solution to youth unemployment. Sounds a bit like a cliche, but it's actually true. At the same time, it's also good to look at all the potential that these countries have, because, for example, sub-Saharan African countries or Asian countries have often an enormous amount of commodities that are not always equally shared amongst the population in terms of revenues. At the same time, there is a high amount of graduated young women and men that are jobless. And at the same time, as Milo mentioned, there are also financial resources flying high in the sky that we're not maybe using or touching effectively. So what we try to do is we try to look, for example, in certain countries at which sectors have potential for job creation. The general idea in UNIDO for all of our services is that in developing countries, if commodities and products are sold without adding value, so as a rough material, basically the wealth stays in the developed world. So what we try to do is to bring production processes, so adding value to basic products in the country themselves before exporting them. So that involves setting up processing plants, training, capacity building, but also quality control, qualifications so that they're even allowed to export to the EU, for example. So, what we try to do with our approach is to support young women and men in becoming actors in socio-economic development of their societies by enhancing creation of productive and decent work, which we then do in sectors that we believe have potential. This is just what I just said. Private sector development is important for tackling youth employment. We try to focus on disadvantaged target groups. And as I said, there's enormous potential in labor force in terms of amount of young people that are unemployed. And then the last point is what I just said, that we think by adding value to commodities and raw materials, we can actually create economic development in a country and higher income for the people involved. Obviously, technical skills training and investment promotion are also crucial in this regard. This is our rationale. We focus on MSME, so that's micro, small, and medium enterprises, because most companies are actually micro and not small or medium. Obviously, the definitions differ, but overall, MSMEs is what we focus on. So the different kinds of services that we provide can basically be distinguished between self-employment and employment services. So what we do for young people, young entrepreneurs, or people with a good business idea, that's what we call self-employment, so where there is not a company yet. So what we try to do, for example, in Armenia and Tunisia, we are working on productive work for youth, supporting young entrepreneurs. You can compare it to the idea of an incubator. There is a whole selection process. We have a goal. First, there's an awareness raising campaign. Then there are calls for proposals. Then there is a selection. And then those young entrepreneurs that are selected are trained and coached into developing a business plan. And then together with banks, they are then selected to get a loan or not. And then after they have a loan, we then coach them into basically setting up and running the business. And so far it's been working really well because the repayment rate is 99% of most of our beneficiaries. So it's a good combination of non-financial and financial services with which we try to help young people. Basically, you can say, why do they need you and why do they need us? For example, in Armenia, the human capital is extremely high. 2-3 weeks ago, I was in Georgia to set up a similar project. And Georgia is number 8 in the doing business qualification of the World Bank. Why do they need us? Well, the problem is often access to finance. And the UN can leverage its neutral status and the fact that we, for example, in Armenia, we put in half of the fund, and the other half of the fund was matched by the local bank. So in order to really make sure that these young entrepreneurs get finance that they otherwise wouldn't get. So, and then of course we offer technical assistance that they may not have, but I think it's an approach that really tries to capitalize on existing potential. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Then EDUC is another program, that's really entrepreneurship development program, which is then part of the training process of these entrepreneurs, and something that is also relevant for now is the HP Live Learning Initiative for Entrepreneurs, in which UNIDO works together with HP in Tunisia in basically helping young entrepreneurs setting up their business with ICT. So first of all, getting access to information, as you said, on the internet, but also through ICT, doing your feasibility study, your business plan, trying to present your case in a proper manner to banks, etc. Later on at the end of the presentation, I will show you a 2-minute video of one of the entrepreneurs we helped in Tunisia with this program to give you a bit of a feeling of what I'm talking about. And this program is extremely successful. Now, the other type of services that we offer is employment in the sense of existing companies. What can we offer for existing companies? So, for example, vocational training centers, mapping of skills required by industry. I mean, as you may all know, there is a huge mismatch between labor market demands and graduates in terms of skills. So we're trying to bridge that gap. Also, we try to cluster small enterprises and to make them work in export consortia so that you have comparative advantage and you can share overhead costs. So this is a quick insight into the projects we have. So Armenia I just mentioned, Tunisia I mentioned. From Tunisia I'll show a video. Sudan, Cape Verde, Angola. In Angola we're working with Chevron. And Mozambique Mozambique, we are doing entrepreneurship curriculum program, which is a huge countrywide program that basically offers entrepreneurship courses at high schools. So, some of the projects we have, or what we then call success stories, is this UNIDO HP Live program that I just mentioned, where young entrepreneurs are helped with ICT as a tool. So as you can see, results so far, 1,400 young entrepreneurs have been benefiting from the HP Live training. There's quite a good gender balance, and 400 direct and indirect jobs have been created. Also, we offer a lot of online training courses. Again, that could be interesting for what you're thinking of, because online, of course, has a huge access, and you're not dependent on trainers. And 65% of the participants have either set up their business or are in a business enterprise. And to give you a quick insight into Armenia, currently the main phase of the project only started in October 2013, and we already had 180 training applicants in a period of 6 months, and 35 loans were dispersed in a period of 6 months. And I think you asked that question about rural development versus urbanization, and what's interesting to see here is that we were actually asked by the government of Armenia to only implement this project in rural areas, because they wanted to go against the urbanization, migration to the city problem, because obviously the provinces are then emptying out, and there's that increases poverty rates. So we are actually doing that in 2 of the poorest provinces in Armenia. So you can see what the demand is in 2 of these provinces. 180 applicants in the age group of 18 to 35 years in 6 months is quite a lot if you only have 4 calls for proposals of 5. Actually, our problem at the moment is now that we have a revolving fund of 400,000 euros, and we're already on over 1/3 of the fund, and we still have 4 years to go. So we're now trying to get more donors, because it's amazing how much the demand is. And there you can also see what lots of people mentioned here is that really the commitment and involvement of young people. You can feel it when you go there. We did a sector study, and in February we presented it there to the local entrepreneurs, and we got really fierce reactions from everybody, and everybody was super involved, and the room was too small to accommodate everybody that came. It was amazing. So in terms of involvement and commitment, it's really nice to see, and the same goes for Tunisia and our other projects. So yes, I think we could definitely work together and capitalize on that potential. At the post-2015 agenda, you've also talked about it already, so I don't want to bore you with it because I think it's very abstract. But of course, we're trying to ensure that UNIDO as a whole tries to ensure that economic development and industrialization will be represented in it. And that then also encompasses the opportunities for good and decent jobs and secure livelihoods, and to add value to commodities and not just sell what you have. Then the Interagency Network for Youth Development is basically a network that was created by the UN Secretary General in 2010, and it consists of UN agencies. As you may know, the UN always tries to come up with frameworks to enhance effectiveness and efficiency, because we have so many specialized agencies and lots of things are overlapping. So in order to have a concerted approach in terms of the youth development, Ban Ki-moon then installed this network. And every year you doing this as a permanent chair, and then every year you have another chair, a co-chair, and we are co-chairing this year. So what Yannick did on the request of the UNSG is to develop a system-wide action plan for youth, which basically provides a framework just to categorize the intervention so that it's clear for everybody who does what. So you have 5 goals, or they're on the next slide, I think. It's way too much text. So the youth swap focuses on 5 or 6 thematic areas: employment, entrepreneurship, political inclusion, civic engagement, protection of rights, education, including sexuality education and health. So you just have to see this as a framework to categorize which UN agency does what and what are the goals, because within these then priority areas you have different sub-goals that have to be addressed in each intervention that the agency does. So every 6 months there's a report in which each agency says, okay, with this project we contribute to this, with this project we contribute to that. Also, so that we can coordinate our efforts. And for example, now recently we submitted a proposal to the MasterCard Foundation for a project in Uganda together with UNIDO and UNESCO. So we're really trying to use each other's comparative advantage and also ensure that we're not overlapping with each other in the spirit of the One UN approach. So the Interagency Network on Youth Development has different subgroups as well, and they discuss and elaborate on their respective topic. And I think the good thing about the network is that it really enhances cooperation between agencies. In March we had our annual meeting in Vienna, and representatives from all the agencies came to Vienna, and we had a 3-day meeting with lots of topics discussed. But for example, I mentioned it earlier today, the UN is now facing fundraising issues because the traditional donors are of course not able to give as much ODA anymore. So we are also trying to really work together in our fundraising efforts and also be smart about the message we want to convey, because for example, UNIDO is a very technical agency. We have projects that are very technical. UNDESA is more policy oriented, so we all have a different focus in that sense. And we try to work together on that. So basically, it ensures the implementation of the youth swap, ensures that youth issues are included in the post-2015 agenda, because obviously lots of the UN agencies that are in a network have their headquarters in New York, where lots of the post-2015 debates are going on. So we are heavily represented there. And a new thing this year is that we're really trying to work more with the private sector. I mean, UNIDO, per definition, by its mandate, should work with the private sector if we do economic development. For other agencies, it's not that obvious, but of course, nowadays, in terms of fundraising, it's also smart to work with the private sector because there's much more money available. And often you have lots of common goals, and you can really use, for example, the UN. The benefits of the UN are that we have very broad field representation. We have offices in each country. We are neutral. We always have entry points with the government. So those are also interesting setting points towards the private sector. The Honourable Minister mentioned it before, the ISID, which was signed on the UNIDO General Conference last year, really also focuses on this inclusive and sustainable development. And inclusive thereby means disadvantaged groups. So I always find it a bit of a cliche to then immediately refer to women and youth, because it's a bit derogatory, but disadvantaged groups are in many countries women and youth, so that's what we try to focus on. The subgroups I mentioned, and UNIDO is leading the subgroup for youth employment and entrepreneurship. Well, I think I covered everything. I would like to show you now the video that I mentioned.
Je m'appelle Naouel Kouka, je suis opticienne. J'ai eu mon diplôme en 2010 en optique lunetterie à l'Université centrale. En mai 2012, j'ai ouvert mon magasin. L'activité principale, c'est vendre des lunettes optiques et solaires, des lentilles de contact et aussi surtout faire les montages dans notre atelier ici au magasin. Aujourd'hui, il y a beaucoup de concurrence. Il y a de plus en plus d'opticiens qui sont en train d'ouvrir. Donc il faut se faire différencier des autres. Il faut avoir quelque chose de plus à offrir à ses clientèles. Quand j'ai entendu parler de la formation HP Life, je me suis inscrite, j'ai fait la plateforme, les cours et tout ça. Dans ces cours-là, j'ai appris beaucoup de choses qui m'ont été très utiles. Entre autres, la valeur unique, c'est-à-dire il faut savoir son point fort afin de se différencier justement des autres concurrents. Il y avait aussi tout ce qui est technologie, parce qu'aujourd'hui, voilà, faut travailler avec ça, c'est-à-dire les classements du carnet d'adresses de ses fournisseurs. Tout ça, je les ai appris grâce à HP Life. Je trouve que le plus qui a été intéressant, c'est aussi de rencontrer d'autres entrepreneurs. Cette rencontre-là, c'est aussi enrichissant pour moi d'appréhender peut-être des problèmes pour le futur. Les projets d'avenir, pour moi, ça sera faire un site internet pour avoir plus de clientèle, faire plus de pubs et offrir mes services en ligne.
The interagency network also last year had an open group with the Youth and Blood organization in case the work, and it was one of the best meetings actually. So I would like to open the floor for the questions. Due to time constraints, we only have two at a time.
I'd like to. Yeah. Thanks a lot. It was very informative and interesting because I was involved in the USAID project, the Development Credit Authority, also in the rural area. We also made some interviews, so it's very similar to the stuff. May I ask, like, you mentioned about the guarantee schemes that you were putting like 50% funds, but it wasn't the insurance fund, so it's like, okay. And what I'd like to know, how do you rate the bank's attitude? Are they feeling like more open to giving credits or loans like in the future when, for instance, these funds are not going to exist? Because this
for
was a
example,
problem.
in Armenia we have a revolving fund, and even if the project is only 4 years, by contract we oblige the bank to continue the fund for 15 years after we leave. So the revolving fund, the idea is that whatever is paid back goes back into the fund, and that way we try to institutionalize it. They still also have to report to UNIDO for the next 15 years.
Thanks a lot.
Do you have, or have you thought of including a social entrepreneurship component?
In which sense do you mean?
In the sense that the enterprises that are set up are also solving some social challenges, such as employing people, disadvantaged people, or people with special needs.
We have different approaches in different countries. In certain countries we really want to focus on the access part, so that no matter which sector you're active in, you should just be able to get a loan if you have a good business plan. For example, in Armenia we have a woman with a bridal shop, and we have farmers who work with sheep. And in other countries we do try to focus on a specific sector, and within that sector that then has to focus on, this person has to focus on disadvantaged groups, or minimum 10 jobs need to be created because of that. But it really depends on all the stakeholders and which decisions are being made in the formulation of the project. And also per country, we have different criteria for the selection committee, because it really depends also on the priorities of the government. But yes, obviously we always want to have a job creation factor there, and a social factor in the sense that it needs to be accessible to everybody. And it needs to have a poverty reduction aspect to it.
Another question is, when you had the main themes, I didn't see environmental sustainability there.
Which themes with the swap?
Oh, you had the main focus.
Yeah.
And there was no environmental sustainability. And I wonder if you address that, or it also depends on a case-by-case basis.
If you may, it's included in the system-wide action plan, and you can also use it also for thinking entrepreneurship, civic engagement, and it's part of it's part of the swap.
Yeah, we as UNIDO don't work on that, my branch, other branches do. But as I said, the swap is divided amongst different agencies, so we really focus within the swap on the entrepreneurship and employment aspect.
But UNEP is involved.
It's also listed, but unfortunately, I also noticed last year when we had the system when we had the open meeting, there was very few youth organizations from environment. So I think that aspect needs to be strengthened, and maybe also my team to also focus more on those issues. But UNIP is definitely listed, and I know particularly for the civic engagement and employment. And I think you can also find it online, and also you can see all the agencies, because each agency in charge for each thematic plan, and there's also lead agency as well.
Okay, thank you. But I will speak with you afterwards, because we can... I'm also in Vienna, we're neighbors.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much once again. And